Greetings and welcome to part 2 of our video walkthrough for the Capture the Flag stapler. Using the IP address of the WordPress site that we injected into the script, this script is going to go to the WordPress site. It's going to generate a JPEG, which we'll later download, that will contain all the base settings for the WordPress site to include any MySQL account information. Before we get too far along, it's always a good idea to just double check your work. So let's do a cat and check the contents of this Python script to make sure that everything's correct. And what we want to look at is that URL and make sure that this is the actual IP address of the WordPress that is running on our target and that the path is correct. To run a Python script, we just type in Python followed by the script, and we're now ready to hit enter. And in just a moment, it should come back with the information. And the terminal comes back to the prompt letting us know that the script ran successfully. Our next step is to visit the contents and the uploads directory for the WordPress site. To do this, we're going to open up a browser. Again, we'll need to add an exception. So we're going to go to Advanced, scroll on down, add the exception, and we're going to confirm the security exception, and now we're into the directory. Since this is my third validation of this particular Capture the Flag exercise, I'm going to have more than just one JPEG. So this is the JPEG that we just created up here, and now your number for the JPEG that you create is going to be different than any of these. But you will have a JPEG up here if the script had the right IP address for your WordPress site. To make life easier, we can just right-click on the JPEG and we can copy the link location. You can go ahead and minimize your Firefox, and now we can just bring up a text editor, any text editor, and we can copy and we can paste that location of that particular JPEG into the text file. Using this information, we're going to go ahead and create a wget command that's going to pull down the JPEG and save it to our stapler location. So we see what the rest of this wget command looks like. It's just wget space dash dash no dash check dash certificate followed by the path to that JPEG. Inside the text editor, we place our cursor, we do a Control A, do a Control C, minimize your text editor, come on back to your terminal, right click, and then you paste. Once you confirm that everything is typed in correctly, go ahead and just hit enter. And you'll see that you get a positive result down here at the bottom where you see that the JPEG was copied over with 100% success rate. We're now ready to look at the contents of this JPEG. So let's go ahead and do an ls, see what the contents are up here. And we see that the JPEG is waiting for us right here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And what I'm going to do now is just cat it out to my terminal. Paste that in there. Hit enter, and now we have the information that was gathered from our WordPress site for all the MySQL information that we need to be able to log on as an administrator. We have now been able to enumerate the root credentials for the MySQL. Now this is going to allow us to get some more information so we can move further along with trying to get into the WordPress site. We do have a password, and that is right here. So we're going to go ahead and use root as our user and this password to gain access to the MySQL database. We're now ready to access the MySQL database as root. To do this, I'm going to use the MySQL command space dash u switch space the name of the user I'm going to log on as, which is root, dash p, which is for the password, and then I'm going to use a dash h followed by the IP address of the WordPress site that is running the MySQL. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And now once that password for the MySQL database, so I've already copied it, I'm going to paste it. I'm going to hit enter, and it comes up letting me know that we have successfully logged on to the MySQL database. We need to dig around for some information about WordPress, so let's start off with showing databases. I've typed in show databases and I hit enter, and I have to remember to place that semicolon at the end, and there are our databases. We're concerned with that WordPress database, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up and see what it has to offer. So I've typed in use space WordPress semicolon. Hit enter. We're now inside of the WordPress database. Now we can get some more information. We're now inside of the WordPress database, so let's do a show tables and see what kind of information this database actually contains. We can now enumerate the WP_users table. So let's go ahead and expand that with a little bit more information. And to do this, we're going to type in describe space WP_users semicolon. I'm going to hit enter. And now if I make this full screen, and we get a nice formatted output, and it tells us some information that we're going to dig further into. So we want to start off with getting some user login information, and then we want to know about their password, and we're going to output that to our terminal as well. Let's see if this is going to work. For this next bit of information that I want to get from this particular database and this table, I've used a select command. So I've typed in select space user_login. I want to get this information from here. And I want to know if there's any user password information that can be associated with the WP_users. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And here we have the users along with their hashed passwords. Now the way things work in databases and with administrators, usually the first name in the list is going to be the administrator. So we can assume, hopefully, that John is going to be the administrator, and if we can crack his hash, we can get his password for the login to the WordPress site. So let's see how we're going to do this. We're going to start off by copying this information from this terminal, and we're going to place this into a text document. So I'm going to open up a second terminal, and in this second terminal I'm going to type in nano space hash.text. I'm going to hit enter, and we see that John is formatted now with his hashed password. Alright, so this is what it has to look like up inside of the text file for this to work. We're going to use John the Ripper with a word list that's going to crack this hash, and we'll get John's password. And let's see how that works. So once you've created that text file for John's username and his hash password, go ahead and do a Control X and get on out of there. If it asks you to save the information from the buffer, go ahead and say yes, and then just hit enter, and that'll close it out. So it just so happens that to launch John the Ripper, we can just type in John at the terminal, and then we're going to tell it that we want to use a word list and where this word list is located, and that we want it to run it against the text file we created called hash.text. Here's a little bit of a caveat for you. If you have not used the rocku.txt word list before, you're going to have to go into the location and extract it from its archive. Use your File Explorer, open it up, scroll to the bottom and click on Other Locations, and we're going to go to Computer, and now we're going to go to the USR folder, and we're going to go into the Share, and then we're going to scroll on down to the word list. Inside the Share folder, you're going to go to Word List. From there, you're going to find the rocku.txt.gz archive, and then you can just extract that. Just right-click on it, say Extract here. When you're done, you'll have a rocku.txt file. With everything in place, we're now ready to go ahead and crack that hash for the username John. And this would work a lot better if I was inside of the directory for the location of the hash.txt file. So let's go ahead and change directory back on over to my stapler and run that command one more time. Alright, now we're into the right directory where the hash.txt file is actually located. So once you have run John the Ripper against this word list and the hash.txt file, you're going to come up with the password for the user John. The password for user John in this case is incorrect. With our username and password in hand, we're now ready to attempt to log in to the WordPress site as administrator. So we're going to go ahead and visit that real quick. Now if you get lost and you can't find the login page, just backtrack on over to the blog site and scroll on down till you come to the login option, and then that'll take you over to the WordPress login. Let's go ahead and add this another exception. Alright, so I'm going to scroll on down here, say add exception. There we go. And we're ready to log into the WordPress site, and we're going to use the user John, and the password is incorrect. And we're now logged on to the dashboard for the WordPress site. Though we did get administrative access to the WordPress console, it's not going to prove to be of much use. So we're going to move on with another exploit. To get us the shell access that we need, we're going to use the infamous PHP reverse shell script. We'll upload the script using our terminal, and this is going to give us enough functionality, just enough, to brute force our way into the root access that we need. This particular script that we need to get is called the PHP-reverse shell, and it's located up here in a little site called pentestmonkey.net. So this address, this URL, is located up inside the lab file, or you can try to copy it here. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to go visit that site, and we're going to download this particular script. Alright, so we're up here, and this is the PHP reverse shell. It's well known. I've already used it on a couple of other capture the flags, and it's very good. So we're going to go ahead and use it again here. So this is the file you're going to download. So go ahead and just start the download, and you're going to save the file, and then just a moment it's going to download. You can open up your download folder. Once you've opened your download location, go to the directory to which it was saved. Now you can right click on this, that is to say the download. It is a archive, and you want to move it. So you're going to move it on over to where? Your stapler folder. So select your stapler directory, and then go on up and click on the select button. That will move the script on over to your stapler location. Once we have that done, we can close out our browser, close out all the tabs, we don't need those anymore, and return to our terminal. Find that stapler directory that's located on your desktop. Go ahead and open it up. Once you're inside of your stapler directory, go ahead and find the download you just moved. You're just going to right click on it, and you're going to select extract here. That brings up the contents of that particular archive that we just extracted, and it's called PHP-reverse-shell-1.0. Go ahead and open up that, and you're going to find a PHP reverse shell.php file. Go ahead and copy this, close that out, or just backtrack on over to your stapler. And you're going to right click inside of the root of your stapler folder, and you're going to paste. Okay, so here's the file that we just copied over from this directory, and we got it inside of the root of our stapler location. We're now going to right click on this, and we're going to select open with other applications, and you're going to select any of the different text editors that you like to use. I'm just going to use one. Doesn't make any difference which one I use. You're going to scroll down inside of this script until you find the location that says change this. There's two of them. One is the IP address, and this is going to be your Kali IP address, not the WordPress. So make sure that you put in the IP address for your Kali machine. And then you're going to change the port, or you can leave it. I like using port 4444, but you can leave this, or you can put in any port number you want, as long as it's not being in use. So we're going to go ahead and change this over to my IP address for my Kali machine, because it's going to be the listener. So where it says $IP address equals, I have typed in the IP address for my Kali machine. And then where it says $port equals, that is the listening port. And we'll explain more of that in just a moment. Once you've got all this done, go up here and click on the Save button. And now you can close that out, and you can return to your desktop. So the next thing we want to do is create a listener using netcat. So I've typed in netcat space -v space -n space -l space -p with the port that I want netcat to listen on. Now once you have this command typed in, just hit enter, and it's going to begin listening on port 4444, or whatever port you told it to listen on. So leave that listener running, and we're going to open up another terminal. I'm going to right click on the terminal icon, select new window, and this time we're going to configure a wget command to push that PHP file on up to the WordPress site. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in wget space dash dash no dash check dash certificate. This will stop it from not allowing us to upload because we can't verify the certificate for this particular location. This is the path we need to use to upload the PHP script to the WordPress site. Alright, we've already been up there one time and we've seen this JPEG. Well, we're going to go back up there and we're going to see that there's a reverse shell waiting for us. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter, and it's working. And when it gets done, we'll go back up and we'll check for that upload script. So here's our PHP file that we just uploaded. It's now present. Now here's a little trick. If you close out this website or you reboot, you're going to lose that connectivity. So just come back in here, double click on this PHP file, and that'll start the whole process of it communicating with your Netcat one more time. So once the script has been uploaded, the listener, that is to say our Netcat listener, will pick up the communication between the WordPress site and this particular terminal. And you'll know when this happens because you're going to get this readout here, letting you know that it has picked up the communication between this terminal and the script. Now this is our terminal. It's limited access, so we're going to have to do some more work to get us in here. But that's going to have to be continued in part 3 of this video walkthrough. So I'll see you in part 3.